Welcome to Fringe Fanatics with Chad Lee and Chris Zane.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. It is Fringe Fanatics. I am Chris Zane.
And I am Chad Lee. Thanks for tuning in.
Yes, thank you, guys. It is August 20th. It's a Tuesday. We're here live and alive. We woke up today. That's half the battle anymore.
That's right. We're both sleeveless. I just now noticed that.
Dude,
we didn't play in this.
You got a little more tan than me. You've been hitting that pool. You're a little sunburnt there, dude.
Right there, yeah. A little
zone.
sun-kissed, yeah.
Take a look at that little, yeah. He's a little cherried over there. So, yeah, it is Tuesday. We're going to run the show a slight bit differently than we normally do. We are going to get our guest on the line here. I guess we could call him anytime.
Probably in the next 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, we'll wait till 5:05. But it is a new episode of Fringe Fanatics. There's been a lot of stuff going on. It's episode 97, by the way.
Yep.
We'll do the 97 player of the episode after the interview. I guess we could just do it right now.
Yeah, we'll just knock it out, man.
Let's just knock it out, man. So this is episode 97, and there was nobody else to pick other than Mr. Jeremy Roenick.
That's right.
Yes, he is ice hockey player, as we all know, who played the majority of his career with the National Hockey League. He was drafted 8th overall in the 1988 NHL entry draft by the Chicago Blackhawks, for whom he played from 88 to 1996. Roenick subsequently played for the Phoenix Coyotes, the Philadelphia Flyers, the Los Angeles Kings, and San Jose Sharks over the course of his 20-season career in the league. He also represented Team USA in several international tournaments. On November 10th, 2007, he became the third American-born player to score 500 goals. He is one of 46 players to have scored 500 goals. After retiring in 2009, he has joined NBC Sports as a hockey analyst, and he was doing that from 2010 to 2020. He is set to be inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame this year, 2024. So
pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
So Roenick in his amateur career began playing hockey at age 4 when the parents of a playmate persuaded Roenick's parents to put Jeremy in a hockey program so that their child would be with somebody he knew. The son of a Mobil Oil district coordinator, Jeremy constantly moved around the northeastern United States, joining new hockey teams with each stop. As a youth, Roenick played in the 1982 Quebec International Pee Wee Hockey Tournament with a minor ice hockey team from Middlesex County, Connecticut.
That was a tongue twister. Middlesex County, Connecticut.
A lot, dude. You get up there in the Northeast, man, there's some tough words to pronounce. And the 1983 tournament with the Washington Capitals minor ice hockey team.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, he later moved to Fairfax, Virginia. He traveled to play for the bantam-level New Jersey Rockets, won multiple championships, back-to-back championships. But let's move to when he was drafted by the Blackhawks. He made his debut on October 6, 1988 against the New York Rangers, and then scored his first goal on February 14th, 1989 against the Minnesota North Stars. In 20 games at the NHL level, Roenick scored 18 points, and in the 89 Stanley Cup playoffs, he helped the Blackhawks reach the conference finals. During the playoffs, Roenick gave Chicago fans a glimpse of what kind of player he would become. In a game against the St. Louis Blues, Roenick got into an altercation with Blues defenseman Glenn Featherstone. Featherstone cross-checked Roenick in the mouth and broke his front teeth. Featherstone would be given a 5-minute major penalty, while Roenick received a minor penalty. Roenick remained in the game, and once his penalty expired, he took a shift on the power play and scored a goal, all after getting his teeth knocked out of his mouth.
Wow.
So that's impressive. He went on to have a prolific season, or just prolific career with the Blackhawks. Like we said, he went to the Coyotes, the Flyers, and the Kings. Chad, why don't you give us a little bit of a rundown of some of his accomplishments in his life?
Well, he played for the national team, like you mentioned, for the United States. Let's see. He represented the United States, got a medal record. Doesn't really say which medal. The Winter Olympics and the 2002 Salt Lake City. And then the Canada Cup.
Canada Cup?
Canada Cup, 1991. That sounded funny. Yeah, they don't really have any of his stats here or anything like that.
Yeah,
like
but
rankings.
there has been some controversies. Roenick's openness has often led to controversy. During the 04-05 NHL lockout, he addressed certain fans that perceive NHL players as being spoiled. Roenick told these fans to kiss my ass and accused them of being jealous. He stated further he would prefer that those fans who shared that perception no longer attend NHL games or watch them on television. Afterwards, Roenick felt his remarks had been taken out of context. I don't know how else you could take that.
Yeah, there's no other way.
So yeah, he's been a little bit of an embroiled guy. He has been a TV personality for a while. So yeah, Jeremy Roenick, episode in 97. Let
That's
us,
off to you, sir.
yes, give you a tip of the cap, as Chad just did, or a hats off, whatever you want to call it. A salute.
There we go.
Yeah. So let us call our guest of the week, who is Mr. Chris Rosa from the New York Giants Rush podcast. So we're going to get a little bit of taste of what's going on over there in New York. So let me pull this up real quick.
He's got a New York accent, too, so I'm looking forward to hearing this.
Nice. I love it. I got to put his number in. I'm sorry. I was running a little bit behind today. So, and we're calling.
All right, Giants news coming at you.
Hello, this is Chris.
What's up, Chris? I am also
Hey.
Chris Zane of Fringe Fanatics, and you've got
Chad Lee here.
yes. Thank you for
Hey,
joining
Chris
us,
and
man.
Chad.
We really
My
appreciate.
pleasure. Thanks for having me.
No worries. We appreciate you hopping on with us. There's a lot to talk about with the Giants, and we're looking to get into it with you. So, Chad, why don't you take us away a little bit?
Yeah, man, I want to know, first off, if you don't mind, can you give us a little background on yourself in New York and how you became a Giants fan and how you got into sports media, if you don't mind?
Wow. How long do you have, right? So, yeah, funny story. So, yeah, I grew up in North Jersey. My dad was a big Giants Yankees fan, and as a kid, I remember driving on the highway right near Giants Stadium back in 1976, and I was 4 years old. And my dad, the Giants were playing at Yankee Stadium before they went there, and Shea Stadium, and I would say, Dad, what is that? What's going on there? And they're building Giant Stadium. That's where the Giants will be moving. So I remember them being, erecting the stadium believe it or not, one of my only memories as a 4-year-old was that stadium. So that just tells you how sick I am, in terms of Giants. So growing up, in North Jersey and the New York area, Giants weren't very good, as you guys have heard. You guys sound young. So what you might have heard back in the late 70s, early 80s, the Giants were just trying to, turn the corner there, the early 80s. And there was a lot of Cowboy fans, a lot of Washington fans.
Yeah.
Raiders. So, there was a point I almost became a Cowboy fan because I was just infiltrated by all these kids at school that were Cowboy fans and the uniforms. The Giants were never on TV because they didn't sell out, so they would black out the games. So, of course, Dallas Cowboys were always on. And I remember it was 1981. The Giants needed to beat the Cowboys to get into the playoffs, and they did. But the game was blacked out. My dad and I had to go to the Holiday Inn. And I remember my parents were divorced. So I remember my dad called me on that Friday saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to watch the game, the Giant-Dallas game, at the Holiday Inn. I must have been, 8 or 9 years old. And I said to my dad on the phone, I said, Dad, would you mind if I root for the Cowboys? And he was cool. Probably heard him. He's like, no, it's okay. Yeah. He was like,
He's
it's
like,
okay.
I might leave you here, but go ahead.
Yeah, I know. He's like, no, it's okay. If you can do whatever you want. That was cool, right? But and that was because of all these kids at school that were Cowboy fans. I was being influenced, So when we got to the Holiday Inn, we were watching the Giant, Cowboy game because remember it was blacked out. We had to go to the hotel to watch it. I was surrounded by so many Giants fans. I couldn't help myself to fall in love with that team, and there was no looking back ever since then. So 1981 is really probably when, I kind of made a stamp, and I wasn't like wish-washy about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's good timing because, Lord
Yeah.
Saylor came along not too long after that.
Oh, yeah. Perfect timing. Absolutely.
And not to mention, you guys did get your first Super Bowl against my Denver Broncos. You beat them pretty handily as well.
Denver.
I'm a Broncos fan. Chad is a Chiefs fan, so we're not going to let him talk too much about his team because we hear enough about him as is, right?
Well, I was going to say one of you guys were definitely Bronco fans, being that you're, out there in Colorado.
Oh,
area.
yeah.
I was kind of figuring that.
Yeah, he's a little bit of a transplant.
Yeah, I moved out here about 14
Uh-huh.
years ago, and I've gone to a lot of Denver, Kansas City games out here in Mile High, and so
Oh,
lots
great
of good
games.
stories.
Great
Yeah,
games.
Yeah, that was
definitely.
kind of
Oh,
how this
awesome.
podcast was birthed. We were going to the Chiefs Broncos games, and I think the first one was the only one that the Broncos won in their entire friendship. And the last one I didn't go to, actually.
Yep.
And
Okay.
that was the one they lost.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
Wow.
I was tired of watching him lose. I let him and his lady
Well,
go.
it's kind of like
And
me
then-
being I could relate. It's like myself, and I have a few Cowboy friends that are fans, and it's like the Giants never beat them, so it stinks. I feel the pain.
Even though I'm a Broncos fan, I definitely had a Cowboys starter jacket in elementary school. It was
Ooh.
like,
Yeah.
Wow.
I felt like that was one of those quintessential things to have back in the
Oh
day.
my God! It was
It's
probably
blasphemy-
like the satin
blasphemy
one,
now.
little shiny.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
had satin
with
look,
the,
little
with
shiny.
the pocket
that's
in the front,
fantastic.
those were sweet.
Oh,
Those were
yeah.
sweet.
Cool, man. Yeah.
You could put your cigarettes right in the front. No
Yeah,
problem.
exactly. Yeah, smoking at 12 years old.
No, that's
hilarious.
cool, man.
Well, I did want to ask you, man, what did you think about the New York Giants Hard Knocks off season? A lot of people thought that the Giants didn't really look good, especially with the Saquon Barkley stuff. But I think in terms of what you guys did, just with the free agent stuff, getting Brian Burns was a huge thing. Probably one of the bigger free agent offseason moves in terms of the whole league. And just seeing him with Dexter Lawrence, I think just teaming them up with a defense that needed some sort of spark is going to go
right.
a long way for you guys. And just seeing them out there for the short time they were out there with Houston, it definitely looked like those two are going to play well together.
Yeah, and even against Detroit and the joint practices, Burns was all over the field. You know what? It's just the Giants have been lacking playmakers for so long, right? Dexter finally has come into his own, and you could really say he's become a playmaker. Now you add Burns, and I think who's going to benefit the most is probably Thibodeau, because now Thibodeau is going to free him up a little bit more. You're going to see Dex getting double teamed, and that's going to free up Burns. So I think both of them should pretty much flourish in this defense, and that's something the Giants have lacked is actual playmakers. The first playmaker was probably Dexter to come along recently, and then I want to say Bobby Okereke last year. His name is now finally becoming a little more household. He probably got snubbed in the Pro Bowl. It's more of a popularity contest, but 140
really
tackles. Yeah, so I think he had the most tackles since probably early 2000 Giants. Actually, tandem of two. Him and McFadden over 100 tackles was the first time a Giant tandem of linebackers had over 100 each since I think like 2005 or something. So it just shows you how long it's been since even the Giants have had a couple linebackers to play the way they've been playing. But I think Bobby Okereke, Burns, and Dexter, Thibodeau, I think they're all going to benefit and from each other. And I think it's they've lacked playmakers. So finally they got a couple. And I think Burns is just strong, athletic. You saw the spin he did on that tackle the other day when Dex was being double teamed.
Yeah, that was what I saw. That I was like, ooh, together those guys are going to be
right.
It's kind of like DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller for a Broncos fan. Seeing those two together.
Well, you know that.
And being
oh
able
my
to.
God. Could only hope it could be that good.
I don't know if it's
Could
going to be
only
that
hope it could be
good,
that.
but
Oh, my
just
God.
to have
No.
someone getting double teamed and free up a guy like Brian Burns or vice versa, it's going to
Right.
do a lot for wrecking a quarterback.
Yeah, I hope so. And that's the idea. But I know as a Giants fan, and we all feel it as our own. We root for our teams. Sometimes it doesn't play out the way you expect. So I'm hoping it does, but you just never know with this team.
You really don't.
No,
Well, let's move to
no.
something I know you're excited to talk about, man. Malik Neighbors. He's been turning heads during camp and preseason, both with his catches and his slaps. How pumped are you to have maybe your best wide receiver prospect since maybe OBJ?
Absolutely thrilled. As much as I like the quarterbacks and the Patriots were didn't want to part with that number 3 pick, and they wanted too much. The Giants couldn't afford to give up that many picks. The safe bet was to go with the sure thing, which was one of these receivers, right? Which was either Rome, Harrison, or Malik. And going back to your question also about Hard Knocks, you really got a taste of these receivers being in the same room together.
Yeah.
And you could see that. Really Dable loved the playmaking ability of Malik Neighbors. And I think you guys had mentioned it. It's the first receiver the Giants have had going back to OBJ, that's a bona fide one, a bona fide, not a 1B, you know, a bona fide one, not a bunch of 2s and 3s. You know, they have a 1,
talent.
and this is yeah, and between that and the offensive line, which has been revamped, and and they played well the past 2 preseason games, there's no excuses for Daniel Jones. He's got his guys, and he has some weapons. So, yeah, I'm expecting big things from the rookie. I really am.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the whole going back to the whole Hard Knocks thing, because a lot of people kind of took the hint, or, you know, when watching Hard Knocks, and they mentioned that they were going to trade up and get a QB, it seemed like that really bothered Daniel Jones. How do you kind of perceive all that?
Yeah, how could it not, right? He's a former number 1 pick. He's coming off an ACL. But in the business scheme of it, and even Dable mentioned it today, Brian Dable, the head coach, mentioned that even behind the scenes, he had talks with Daniel Jones ahead of time of the draft that, hey, we're looking at quarterbacks, you know, we're doing, and even Shane had said that, like, he just wanted to make sure that Daniel understood this is a business. We're hoping you come back from your ACL. And I got to think in the back of Dable's mind is, listen, if this continues with Daniel Jones and he can't stay healthy and he's not progressing, then there needs to be a plan B.
It's just the way it is.
Drew Lock.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, that's right.
Former Bronco.
Yep.
Yeah,
a Giant.
Right. Yeah, and I think you know, the business part of it. You know, these guys' jobs are on the line. You know, you can't play. You know, I like Daniel Jones. You know, Dable might like him personally. I'm sure he does, and he said that. But he has to look out for himself. And I feel like this year, it's you know, it's really a make or break for Daniel Jones. This is going to be it.
Well, maybe the beard will help, you know.
Yeah, I hope he keeps.
It's like a whole new guy out there.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, the NFC East is definitely a little bit of a tough division. What do you think? I mean, right now, if you had to, what do you think the Giants' record's going to be this year? Just off, you know, everything that's happened so far.
First off, I could see 7-10. I could see 10-7. I could see 8-9. I would say right now, because of the roster, and they're probably the 3rd best team. The Washington's making their way up. I don't think they're ready for that move. I think the Giants are still a little bit better than Washington right now, but who knows? That may change. I want to say right now, I see the Giants realistically. I see 9-8. That going into those last couple of weeks with a chance for the wild card. But I could see 9-8. They won 6 games last year with 3 quarterbacks. Well, with the 2 backups that, you know, that were going back and forth with who they're going to play, whether DeVito or Tyrod Taylor. So, you know, if they won 6 games like that, and the Jet game is a game they probably should have won, and the Buffalo game, and I don't know. I'm thinking 9 wins. Better team this year. But I'd be surprised if they won 10. I think 9 is more. I'd see 8 or 9. You know,
I love
but
the
9
optimism.
is really what I'm.
Yeah, no, I do. That's the faith you got to have, man.
Yeah.
I like that.
I try to keep it real, because 2 years ago, you know, nobody expected that, and I feel like this is a better roster than 2 years ago. And I don't like to go game by game with the schedule, but I say to my Cowboy friends, if the Giants have to get in on the show, the Giants have to get to 2-2 by the end of that Cowboy game. I don't expect them to beat the Cowboys, but be 2-2 after that game, which means you got to beat Minnesota and you got to beat Washington to be 2-2 after.
And
September. Washington
definitely has some questions. They you know, listed Jaden Daniels as their starter, so you're going to have a legit rookie going into the year,
right?
And with that, you know, updated pass rush you guys have, that could be a problem for him. So I think, you know, Minnesota, who knows what's going to happen there. I think you guys could very easily come out of that 2-1 heading into that, you know, that Cowboys game. So
yeah,
because
it'd be a letdown, to be honest, if they're not, just because of what you had mentioned about Minnesota with Darnold and the first games at home, and Washington going through some growing pains. I mean, they really do. They need to get out of that, go to that 4th game 2-1.
Yeah, the only scary one is that week 3 game against the Browns, but
yeah, I don't expect them to win. Yeah, that's right. I don't
that
expect
defense is just scary with the Browns. So.
Oh my God, and they still have a lot of salary cap room. You know, it's amazing
That's true.
what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right, but
yeah,
man,
I don't. That'd be great if they won, but yeah, I'm not expecting it.
I definitely don't have a lot of faith in the Cowboys this year. I know, like, they've been the Cowboys. They've been 12-win team the last 3 years and stuff, but all this stuff going on with all the contract talks, it's such a big distraction. We already know there's all kinds of distractions in the Cowboys locker room. I have a feeling, this is just me, this is just a hunch from a Joe Schmo, but man, I think that they maybe fall back to maybe 9-10 wins this year. So I bet there's a good possibility that you guys could steal it. I mean, look who their running backs are this year. It's Rico Dowdle and Zeke Elliott. They don't have the same type of talent, and their offensive line has really taken a hit. So I could see them really taking a step back this year.
Not to mention they made literally like no moves this offseason, and
Zero.
now you've got CeeDee Lamb and those questions, and that's your best, weapon on the offense. It's scary out there for the Cowboys. So they could definitely be floating down there to where maybe the Giants could leapfrog them. Who knows?
Yeah, I think Philly's definitely the one to beat.
Yeah, I agree, and I think I still think the Cowboys are one of the better teams in the NFC. And I'll tell you, there's always names. Will McClay, the head of player personnel, for the Cowboys, general manager, he always finds guys, in the draft. They draft so well. So even there might be some players right now we're not sure of, but
that's true.
It seems like their draft always turns out well. And they did, was it BB, the guard they drafted was it the second round? So, they slot him in. And I know they lost Tyron Smith, but I feel like the Cowboys in the regular season, they always find a way to win, those 10, 11, 12 games. And then the playoffs are a whole different story, and then they end up beating up on Washington, the Giants, and they split with Philly. But until the Giants prove it, and that's why that game on the 27th, on that Thursday night, is such a pivotal, or 26th is such a pivotal game for the Giants. They got to prove it, right? They got to prove, and they beat the Cowboys. I mean, they're like 1 in the last 9 or 10 against them. So, prove it.
Yeah,
I like that.
I mean, one last question. Your faith in Daniel Jones going into this year. How are you feeling about it? The preseason hasn't done him well in terms of the actual game footage.
Well, it was one game, right? And I always say I have what do you call it? Not controlled optimism. I have cautious. I have cautious optimism, and let me tell you why. Last year, and I went to the preseason game against I think it was the Panthers. Daniel Jones comes up and down the field against the Panthers. The crowd was like, "All right, we've seen enough. He's done great." He was like 7 for 7 with a touchdown against the Panthers, coming down the field, 60, 70 yards.
We're going to the Super Bowl.
Get him out. Yeah, played great, right? Played great, and we're like, "Oh man!" And then we saw what happened in the Cowboy game. It was absolute disaster. And then games after that, all other than the Cardinal game where he threw 4 touchdowns in the second half and they pulled it out. But we were so optimistic, right? Now, he played better after the end of the first quarter, right? And stupid pass, that's the typical Daniel Jones stuff that drives everybody crazy. Yeah. He could have thrown a regular interception, but the fact that it was a pick six right in the corner's belly, I think it was Stingley was picked it off.
Yeah.
So
and he's looking really good this year. So I don't know if that's on Daniel.
Yeah. Well, he double clutched it. Should have threw it out of bounds.
Yeah.
But when you look at the throws to Wandale on the crossers, hit Neighbors a couple times, Slayton, almost got the touchdown. If he threw that and that was a touchdown, he was at the 1 yard line. That Slayton, I don't know if you saw it, but he caught, 49-yard pass. If he goes in the end zone, the narrative kind of changes. Hey, really not bad. He threw a bad pass, but he threw a pick. He threw a beautiful touchdown. But that throw doesn't get the acknowledgement so much because it wasn't a touchdown. It was first and goal. So I feel like he played better. I like the fact that Dable still kept him throwing the ball, and that's what Dable wants to do. But tomorrow's joint practices, I put a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? I put a lot of credence. I put a lot of weight. Yeah, a lot of stock. Thank you. A lot of stock or weight into these joint practices because tomorrow against the Jets, you're going to see ones against ones. It's not going to be a preseason game where all these guys are mixed up ones and twos. So tomorrow's a good test for Daniel Jones against this Jet defense in a controlled practice. So, we're going to see. But I will say, if he plays bad, he won't make it a month into the season if it's that bad. Because Dable doesn't have time either. You could see the way he's running training camp, playing more ones, a harder training camp. The pressure's on. There's no time to sit back. So, But I expect, if you're asking me, I don't mean to talk so much, but if you're asking me what I'm thinking what I think Daniel Jones would do, I'll make a prediction. I say 25 to 30 touchdown passes for Daniel Jones. I say about 34, maybe 3,500 yards, 15 picks, and right around 69% completion percentage. And the reason I say that, I believe Dable's going to run this offense to Daniel's strengths. A lot of throws out of the backfield to the backs. Barkley's not going to be hanging over his head. Got to feed him and keep him happy. It's more going to be Neighbors getting 150 targets, which would be crazy. But I feel like with the amount of opportunities, he's going to put up some yards. I'm not saying he's going to have a great year, but he will put up stats because of the amount of attempts that he's going to be throwing.
Yeah, and I don't know how well his ACL is, but he is a little bit of like a sleeper in terms of his rushing capability. He does have he's broken off a few big runs. It's just a matter of getting down and staying healthy, because that has been his biggest thing.
100%, and that's my complaints with Daniel Jones is pocket presence, processing, right, going through his reads. He locks on. We see it. He locks on to that first receiver, and staying healthy. Pocket presence, locking on the receivers, going through his reads, and health. So he's got to, that has to, he has to trust the offensive line. I believe Illuminor at right tackle came over from the Raiders. I believe Thomas, one of the best. I would say top 5, definitely top 3. Yeah, it was by Gettleman. So they didn't allow one pressure on the bookends on both tackles on Sunday, or excuse me, Sunday. So Saturday. So that didn't allow
fast.
That. Yes, it does. So that's got to build, you would hope, Daniel's confidence in this offensive line, knowing that he was able to stand upright and go through his progressions a little bit more.
Yeah. I mean, I had to watch Russell Wilson for the last 2 years, and granted, the first year I'm going to write off, but that second year, I've never seen anybody have less pocket presence than Russell Wilson last year. And I think, granted, we're paying for him to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year, and who knows where he's going next year, but doesn't look like much has changed. So I feel your pain on that, and I only hope that, unlike Russell Wilson, who's kind of an old dog, and I don't know if you're going to teach him any new tricks, hopefully Daniel Jones still can learn, because I think he's got some talent. It's just, eventually you just got to put everything together. And with what they've done on the offensive line, getting John Runyon Jr., and you mentioned Illuminor, sorry. I definitely think they're giving him all the opportunity, and this has got to be make or break for him. So hopefully, for your guys' sake.
And I try, most definitely. I try to keep it objective, and there are times when Daniel steps back and they're on him so quick. He just needs a little time, and I'm hoping that he can go through his progressions once he has a little more faith, which hopefully he's gaining on the offensive line, where he doesn't have to lock on and make that read and then just go to that receiver, because we've heard defensive backs say, hey, he locks onto his guy, and we don't, he's got to be able to go through progressions. I'm hoping it changes, and we'll see in a couple of weeks. I don't foresee him maybe playing Saturday, but against the Jets in the preseason game. But it's got to start in a few weeks against Minnesota. I think that's a good test for him. It's a good test.
Definitely. Do you have any more football questions, Chad?
Well, I just want to ask you. You bring up the Jets. How is that? Do you guys have like a real hated rivalry there? Do you have friends that are Jets fans? Is this kind of like a real serious week, even though it's a preseason game?
It used to be back when, but I feel like because both teams haven't been very good, it takes on less of a role. It's a little bit, back when the Giants, back when, Rex Ryan was there earlier on, and the Giants were winning in 2007, 8, it took had a little bit more feistiness with it, But I feel like both teams have been down for so long, it kind of took away the little flavor. But, I would say, a lot of Jet fans or a lot of Giant fans look at Jet fans as, their stepbrother, right? They're the younger brother. There's always a joke with Giant fans are Jet fans used to be Giant fans. They just couldn't get Giant tickets. So when the Jets came along, everybody got Jet tickets.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, but I think if both teams were good, it would take on a little more flavor. They used to call it the Snoopy Bowl when the Giants would play in preseason, because it was MetLife, and they had the Snoopy statue or whatever. They don't do that anymore, but there used to be a little more flavor when the Giants and Jets were both good. But in the
that
regular
makes sense.
season last year, it takes a lot more in a regular season. Then you feel it that week, like because the stadium is shared. Obviously, you guys know.
Yeah.
So then you get infiltrated by Jet or Giant fans, depending who the visitor is, and it's really almost like a 60-40. 60 for the home team, 40% visitor. But always fun in the tailgate. Always get along. I mean, there's never fights or anything like
That's
that.
good.
But just a lot of banter back and back and forth. It's tough to give each other ribbing when both teams are pretty sucky for a few years. So.
Well, I'm sure you guys can both agree. Two New York teams, you guys can still hate on the old rednecks up north in Buffalo, right?
Yeah, more so Jets. Giants, no big deal. We beat them in the Super Bowl, but Jets. There's a lot of. I think hatred there for the Dolphins, Bills,
Definitely.
Patriots.
Yeah, that division there. Yeah, for sure.
Before we let you get out of here, I did want to ask you one other thing, because you mentioned that your dad was a Yankees fan. I'm assuming you're still a Yankees fan, obviously.
I am, but I will tell you, and it sounds like I'm spoiled, but since the 90s, when they won their first World Series since like 1978, I kind of lost a lot. Like, I still follow them here and there, but I'm not tuned in like I was for those 90 World Series, the Subway Series, against even the Padres in whatever 2000 or 2001. So I don't know. I lost a lot of flavor for the Yankees. I've become like just so more dialed in with Giants. But yeah, I am a Yankee fan, but I'm not like a diehard or anything anymore.
Okay, yeah, I was just going to ask what your thoughts were on Aaron Judge and the Bobby Witt Jr. race for who's probably going to be the MVP of the American League.
I mean, Aaron Judge is just unreal, man. Right? I mean, he might be the best baseball player the Yankees have had in my generation.
Yeah,
and that's saying a lot.
Yeah, I did see a stat the other day that he's, for one, he got to 500 super fast.
Yeah,
and then he's had 40 home run seasons, I think, in a row. And then the only other Yankees to do that, I think, are like Gehrig, Ruth, and some other great, So he's really getting his names up there with some of the
Mantle,
legends.
Maybe Mantle,
probably.
Yeah. I mean, the guy looks like was sculpted out of
to play
marble. I mean, he's
huge.
Literally just a giant, and he's extremely
heck of
athletic.
a football player too, back in high school, supposedly.
I believe.
I wouldn't doubt
it. Makes you wonder. Yeah, right. It makes you wonder. Imagine if he was playing with McGuire and Sosa when the balls were juiced up and everybody else was juiced up.
Yeah.
Imagine with the ball.
He'd be hitting 60
how many,
a year, man.
He would have been right up there hitting 70 back then.
No doubt,
my God.
He probably would have been leading.
Right?
Yeah.
Probably. Wow. But,
well, man.
Yeah.
We appreciate you hopping on with us, and Chad, do you have anything else?
I just want to ask. I have been really enjoying just kind of do my homework on the Giants and everything. Been listening to you guys' podcast. Yeah. When's the next episode coming out?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So Mondays is the NY Giants Rush show on Mondays. We're going to transition right before week 1 with the regular show. It's still Mondays, and that'll be kind of like a preview show. Recap show.
Okay.
So as we get through week 1, we'll recap Sunday's game, and then we're going to add. We normally do our Thursday preview show. We'll turn the page, and then we'll preview, the upcoming game. We'll try to bring some beat writers on from the opposing team, which is always great for some inside info. And hey, too bad. Giants weren't playing Denver or the Chiefs. I'd bring you on that preview show.
That's all right, man.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if it happens in the Super Bowl.
There you go.
Well,
never know.
I don't know about the Giants, but you guys could be there. You never know.
The Broncos.
Well, obviously Chiefs.
But, Chiefs are like.
I think Denver and the Giants have an uphill battle. But you never know.
Yeah. Or I don't know what we're favored at, but it ain't good. Well, man,
let me ask you guys a quick question.
Yeah, please do.
I mean, the Chiefs. We know that it's Chris that's the Denver fan, correct?
Yes.
So, Chris, I mean, we know the Chiefs. But Chris, what's your feeling on Denver with all the changes? And Bo Nix played well the other night. So, what's your feeling on them?
He did. He's played really steady. I definitely think they're going to name him the starter. Sean Payton's playing a lot of games right now with the media, and I think he's just kind of having fun with it. Otherwise, I think we already would know that Bo Nix is the starter. The dark horse thing, though, is Zach Wilson, I think. And I think he's one that's really surprised even Sean Payton himself. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up rolling with Bo Nix and Zach Wilson for this season and end up maybe seeing if Stidham will make it through waivers, which I don't think either of those quarterbacks will. In terms of the season, I'm looking forward to it. I'm just happy that for once we have a coach who's all in on a quarterback. And, it's not, we were hoping for Aaron Rodgers, but we didn't get him, so we traded for Russell Wilson. And we've got Aaron Rodgers' buddy, who's not even a really good coach at all anyways, as we're finding out moving forward here throughout the years. Realistically, 7 to 8 wins, I think, would be a great season. I think 6 is realistic. And as long as you're seeing all being bought in on Bo Nix, if you're seeing at least him taking chances and getting a chance to grow, I'm all for it. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm just happy that we're at a point where it's like, here's a guy, we're all in on him. Sean Payton's here probably 3 more years unless Bo Nix turns into something great. Who knows? Sean Payton could go back to Fox Sports for all we know. But he's bought in on Bo Nix right now, and I'm just looking forward to the seeing what happens. It's nice, I guess, being in a position of looking forward for once.
Yeah, it's kind of like turn the page. You want to see the growth in Knicks and just take it from there, just step by step and just grow, right?
Yeah, sometimes you just got to throw them into the fire. I know Tom Brady came out, I don't know if it was this weekend or what, but he was on some podcast and he was going off on the fact that all these rookie quarterbacks are, kind of getting thrown to the wolves and how that wasn't how it was, 20-some years ago when he was coming into the league, or even when he was at Minnesota. Michigan. Sorry, I don't know why I said Minnesota. Right there, when he was at Michigan, he's like, these colleges aren't programs anymore. They're just running. You learn the offense, and that's it. It's not like how it was when I was at Michigan, where I started as a 7th on the what am I trying to say? 7th in terms of quarterback position on the depth chart. Yes. And you had to work your way up. You don't have that anymore. You get these guys coming in or going through or transfer portal and just, going wherever they think they can get a chance. He's like, these guys aren't growing and building. And I do think that is a little bit of what's missing, but at the same time, it's, the way of the sword right now, and you live and die by it when it comes to quarterbacks, especially.
Right. And you know what? To counter what Tom Brady said, and all that stuff makes sense, 2 things. Coaches don't have a long leash. Years ago, you'd get 5 years for a head coach. Now you're getting 2 to 3. See, coaches, and they want to make their stamp. If they drafted their guy, they want to get him in there. The second thing is we've seen with the NFL, it's different than years ago. Years ago, you've tried to fit your quarterback that you drafted into your system. Now we're seeing a lot of the college coaches come into the NFL, and they're gearing their system to the strengths of the college game. So we're seeing these guys do what, they did best in college, and now they're able to ramp up because, you're not fitting a square peg in a round hole. We're playing to the strengths, right? And I think the NFL has become a lot like the collegiate game. We see it with the running, right? With these quarterbacks. When Tom Brady came, you had maybe 1 or 2 quarterbacks that ran around. Now everybody seems to run around. So you know what? They're gearing it towards the strengths. So I would counter that with Tom Brady saying the game is more geared to fit their strengths coming out of college.
Yeah, that was my whole thing too. I was like, it's a little bit of get off my lawn take from Tom Brady. I mean, you got to take into consideration how just in the last 5 years how much the NFL has changed, let alone the last 20. So,
well, I mean, not only that, back in the day when he was playing, these quarterbacks didn't really have all of these high school quarterbacks and middle school quarterbacks. There wasn't as many of these summer camps and Manning camps. What's
7-on-7, summer 7-on-7.
Yeah, there's some kids that are playing football year round because their target is the NFL. And back when Tom Brady was getting drafted, it was basically just like that was what you did, and you go to college for it. It wasn't like these kids are almost like made in a laboratory these days. So by the time they get to the NFL, they pretty much are NFL ready.
Yeah, it's interesting. And last thing, and I'll let you guys go. But Phil Simms, obviously, Denver, that's Super Bowl 21. In today's NFL, I don't know if Phil Simms even makes it. I talk with Giant fans all the time. Phil Simms was always hurt. He wasn't very good when he started out. He needed to have time under his belt. Then he got hurt again. I don't know in today's NFL if Phil Simms would have gotten the amount of chances he had with that team to last. I feel like he would have been he would have been run out of town and been a backup somewhere else.
You even look at someone like John Elway, who's now heralded as one of the greats. His first few years in the league were terrible. I mean, Peyton Manning set the record for rookie interceptions. There's a lot of guys who probably, would be in today's league would be on a short leash after something like that. Even Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Well, it's crazy. There's a lot more money involved nowadays, so there's a lot more pressure. So
that is true.
That's right. The meter's running, right? You have that rookie contract. You have a limited amount of time before they cash in, so they want to make it work as fast as possible. But not everybody could be like a Jordan Love and sit behind an Aaron Rodgers, or an Aaron Rodgers sit behind a Brett Favre. So that's the beauty of those
Apparently, that might be
right?
something people need to look into a little bit more. That whole, some
Mahomes
guy marinate a little bit.
Mahomes sat behind Alex Smith for
very
a year.
truncated,
That's
but
right.
they knew. I mean, Andy Reid knew when he's like, he's
sure.
And I knew that game he played that week 7 or week 6.
We saw his first start.
Yeah, and I was like, that sucks.
Yeah,
right.
Here we go. Great.
Yeah.
Yep.
And think about those quarterbacks, right? Like a Jordan Love. Those guys fell later in the first round, or some of them even second round. That's a perfect opportunity. You're going to a team that has a pretty good roster. You go to a top 5 team and you're picked in the top 5. You're going to a pretty crappy team that doesn't have much yet. So you don't have a lot going for you. But boy, what a perfect situation to be drafted, even though it sucked for Rodgers, but the end of the first round, and to be surrounded by a good roster and to follow Rodgers. I mean, follow Favre. It just made out well for a guy like Love, a guy like Rodgers, and
it's crazy the way it worked
out. A bunch
out.
of other quarterbacks. Yeah, for sure.
Hey, let me ask you real quick though. You were asking Chris about the Broncos. Do you play fantasy football?
It's funny. I was in a league for about 25 years, and I just got the email this week. I lost the fire. I bailed, and my team was called the Vodka Toxins. The Vodka Toxins. They're no longer. After 25 years, I'm done.
That's a long time, man.
It's a big investment.
Man.
It is, man. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah. You know what, guys, with the show, and I do the PA announcing for for a high school, and I do all the prep work and the game day stuff, and I found that with the fantasy football, I was always like later in the week scrambling to get look at the waiver wire and stuff. I had to kind of just eliminate one thing in my life to make the other things work a little bit more efficiently. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, totally right there with you.
Well, no worries. What I was just going to mention, it won't matter, because I was just going to say, pay attention to one of their running backs, Audric Estime. That dude is a bulldozer. I think by the end of the year, he's the one that's going to be getting all the goal line touches, and we're going to be seeing the Broncos score quite a bit on the ground, maybe because of this.
Wow,
guy.
It's possible. Yeah, he is one of those guys out of Notre Dame, and if you look at his highlights, he is definitely a bruiser, which is those guys don't last long in the league, but they're always nice when they're around.
And I remember him being one of the top guys. So was he second or third round when he got drafted?
Man, I think it was fourth.
Fifth or, I thought it was pretty late.
Was that late? Wow.
Yeah. He also made an appearance, I think, in X-Men 3 as Juggernaut as well.
Really?
Yeah.
No kidding.
I mean, he's huge.
Are you serious?
No, I'm definitely not. I'm just making it up. Because he is like a juggernaut, dude. It's like once he gets going,
he said that with such conviction. I was like, I did not know that.
He would probably be 40 years old.
I think he might be a Jersey guy, too.
Oh, no kidding. That's cool, man. Hell yeah.
I think so. I'd like to check that out.
Yeah, I'd like to look into that. But no, man, I'm nervous about the Chiefs playing him because it's going to take 3 or 4 guys to bring him down. Yeah. But, yeah, well,
and then the Chiefs. Yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead.
Don't they?
The Chiefs what?
Don't they have a big fullback that's been playing for the Chiefs?
We got it. Actually, he might be the number 2 running back because Clyde Edwards has kind of missed a lot of the time during camp and stuff due to kind of like some mental health issues, and so Carson Steele. Dude, he's like a
great football name.
What a name.
Yeah, seriously. He has a pet alligator, too. Straight up.
I saw last week, they were talking about him. He was just clearing holes left and right.
Oh, man, I'm really pumped for him. So I think he's going to play like a fullback / running back in short yarded situations. So really pumped for him.
Awesome. Yeah. Andy Reid loves his fullbacks. He always brings them along. He always tries to fill in.
And that's just it, man. We've been without one since we gave the Broncos Michael Burton, and then Anthony Sherman left a few years ago. And then if you notice, like the Chiefs were horrible in 3rd and 1s and 4th and 1s recently. So I think that's going to change.
And Michael Burton, very good fullback. He's actually a town over from where I live. That's where
nice.
Oh wow, That's cool.
Yeah, Rutgers kid. Yeah.
And
yeah.
just
But,
estimate was a 5th-round draft pick. He fell all the way to the 5th.
That's what's
Wow.
up.
That's
5th round.
6'1",
well, that's what we're
215.
seeing with these running backs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, man,
they
Chris,
seem to tire.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm all good. All good.
We appreciate you hopping on. We've definitely kept you over the 30 minutes we said we would, but it was great talking to you. If you could
fun.
just let us know or let our listeners know where they can find you, and then we'll let you get on out of here, man.
Plug your socials, man.
Ah, man, all good. No, the pleasure was all mine. So, NY Giants Rush, it's all Giants. So I don't know who's out there that's Giants, but if you are, head over to YouTube. You can find us there at NY Giants Rush, and then also on all the pod platforms, Spotify, Apple Pod, all that stuff, and then IG as well. You can listen to our shows, which is Monday at 8 o'clock Eastern time, and then right before week one, the week of week one, we'll be doing our preview show on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern time as well. So NY Giants Rush.
Tremendous.
Awesome, man.
Nice.
Well, thank you again for hopping on with
Thank
us.
you.
And, maybe if you've got time, I know you are busy, but maybe like somewhere the halfway point of the season, we can have you hop back on and talk about where they're at and see if maybe some of what we talk
that would
about's
be
come
great.
to fruition.
That would be awesome. Love hanging out with you guys. A lot of fun. And hey, anytime.
Yeah.
The
Thanks a
pleasure
lot,
was all
man.
mine.
Yep, and good luck to your
appreciate it,
Giants
guys.
this year.
Yeah, let's see what
Hey,
they do.
same-
Go blue,
same
as
thing
they
to
say.
That's right. I don't know if I have to say good luck to the Chiefs. They're a given, but
No, we want to
Chris,
take
to
away
Denver,
a little bit of
good
that
luck
luck.
to you as well.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Chris, man. Have a great
All right.
night.
Win the turnover battle. Real quick, the Giants are the only team to go plus 14 in the turnover battle and still have a losing record. They were number 1 or number 2 in the league. Never, I don't think it's ever happened. Plus 14 and still end up with a 6-9 record. So
That's,
man.
that's an
That's
amazing
so
stat. I love
That's
that. That's what
sour.
we're going to end it on, man.
That is good, dude.
all right, cool.
Well, you have a good
Awesome,
night,
awesome.
Chris.
You too, guys. Thank you again. Appreciate
Yeah.
it. Great show.
Take
Later,
it
man.
easy.
Thank you.
Man, plus 14 and finish 6-9. Like, if I was a coach, I think I'd spend a whole practice,
Just,
a meeting on that.
How
Like,
is this
what
happening?
Happened, dude.
The offense isn't producing,
Exactly.
unfortunately.
Yep, that was what it was. Tommy DeVito, man. Why
Tommy
weren't you eating your
DeVito!
spaghetti? Bring your mom spaghetti.
Yeah, mom's spaghetti vomit on his sweater already. You know what I mean?
I was trying to think of it, but yep, 8 Mile.
Yeah, 8 Mile, Well, it is time to get to the music break.
hit
And
it.
all this month, we have Flavor out of New York City, which very fitting considering
Oh, wow.
we had the New York Giants on. So
Perfect.
you are about to hear Stompin' on Love by Flavor, and that is coming at you hot and heavy right now. Stomp. That was Stompin' on Love by Flavor. Again, that is Flavour. It's that fancy spelling of Flavor. And if you liked what you heard and you want to hear more of it or find out when they're going to be on tour in your town, they are coming here 9/3. That is September 3rd. It's a Tuesday. It's a school night. But they are on tour, and my band, the Born Readies, is going to be playing with them. So if you are in Denver, make it out to that show. If not, visit Taste the Flavor, Flavour, again, .bandcamp.com is where you can find all of their music and also find where they are going to be on tour, possibly get merch from them as well. And if not, make sure to like and follow them on all things streaming wherever you get your music, and do the same for us.
Please do.
Yeah, subscribe to us on YouTube. We need more YouTube subscribers. And we're getting good comments. We're getting some good comments on the old TikTok.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I saw we even have like some haters on YouTube. That was good.
Haters on YouTube, haters on TikTok.
I like to see it, man.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Yeah.
And I respond back very respectfully, and always try and provide some, backstory as to why we had said thought or theory. But it is time for us to get
Tell
into
us about
the weekends.
Your weekend. That's
yes. It is weekends. Do you
Your
want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I'll go first because you went to the game.
I did.
Yeah, so last weekend we did a lot of appetizer foods, a lot of playing cards, and a lot of drinking.
Okay. Yeah, finger foods, if you will.
Yeah, we actually
Can't go wrong
Friday
with them.
night and Saturday night we did appetizer foods. We fried up zucchini slices from the garden.
Ooh.
And dipped them in marinara sauce.
Pretty
fucking
good.
bomb, dude.
Fried them.
It was fucking delicious.
So it's kind of like, I guess it's like,
it was like
a
chip,
zucchini parm, kind of.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
really.
because with the breadcrumbs and stuff, she did mix in some Parmesan cheese.
Yeah.
That was delicious.
Zucchini.
Yeah, no, it was a good time. And then Saturday night, watched the fights. Really enjoyed that. That was really awesome.
Yeah, there's some good fights.
Dude, it's like a ritual. I really like to smoke a joint and watch UFC fights. I don't know, it's some caveman barbaric shit and stuff, but like in between fights, there's always like
people beat each other up.
Pretty much, dude. It dates back to like the gladiator times where I'm like,
Probably.
just kidding, like faded.
We're getting closer to watching people just kill each other on TV. It's 15, 20 years.
We watched some of those UFC fights. It got pretty close. That Dan Hooker fight, it looked like it.
Yeah,
that was badass.
That was pretty badass.
And then Alien. On Sunday we went and saw Alien Romulus.
Yeah,
it was
awesome.
It was awesome. The best way I've kind of described it is it's like a cover song for the first two movies.
Well, it happens in between the first two
It
movies.
does, but I mean, what I kind of mean is like just the way it's filmed. They didn't really
like
do
a tribute.
CGI. Yeah, it was like a big tribute to them. A lot of it was almost like shot for shot, kind of like an homage to some of them. There's even they use some of the same lines. Like I told someone at work where it was like, I can appreciate that when they do that with these like reboots or these sequels and stuff, but like when there's like over 10 or maybe like 12 different callbacks and just like references, it's like, all right, kind of make your own movie a little bit. You got to stand alone a little bit. But I will say, at the end of a lot of these Alien movies, it's always like an evolution where it goes from like an egg to a face crawler and then to xenomorph and then to something extreme.
Yeah.
This extreme, whatever it was at the end, it's fucking nuts, man. It got really weird. You ever seen a Tool music video?
So it looked like that.
This creature would fit right in claymation, but I mean, not so much claymation, obviously, but just weird, dude. It got real weird. So,
okay,
I love it.
All right,
it was cool.
That's fair. I mean, well, is that the end of your weekend?
Yeah, pretty much. Sunday night, I made. No, I couldn't make steak because it was way too windy. So yeah, we just chilled.
I went the end of your caveman weekend.
Yeah, I know. But last night, I did make a fire steak, dude. I knock out of the park every time. Now I'm Aaron
steaks,
Judge.
You can't go wrong with steaks.
Aaron Judge with steaks right now. I'm telling you. Because I've told you, I don't do like pulled pork, briskets. I just got a simple old Weber.
Yeah.
I can cook a steak.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a good technique, a good what's the word I'm looking for?
Strategy?
Not strategy. Thing you can do. Why can't I think of it?
Skill?
Skill. Yes,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a good skill.
You gotta know how to cook a steak.
I
Man.
can think of skill. I don't have any of them, but I can think of the word with a little bit of help.
Well, tell me about your weekend.
It was pretty good with all the new talk of the new Alien movies. I told you we had a box set of Alien movies.
Cool.
There was literally 9 DVDs.
Was Resurrection involved with that?
Yes.
Yeah. I always forget about that one.
That one's weird.
It's so weird.
3 and 4 are weird.
You'll see where, the Alien 3 and Resurrection just got
Got weird.
shark. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'll see this creature I was talking about at the end.
Is it very
was almost like a
Resurrection-ish?
hint at the bone-ish kind of like the almost human-like creature in Resurrection.
Yeah, because that was my thing, dude. 1 and 2 are great.
They're fantastic.
Great movies. 3, I'm like, this is weird. I guess I kind of get it. They had to tell like an in-between part. Resurrections, wild.
It got weird.
Pretty wild. And most of the movie was good, but I totally forgot how they tried to make the fucking alien at the end like a baby. And it was like, mama.
Yeah. Dude, I'm saying. It was
And then the
insane.
weird part where she's like,
almost like
nuzzling it and like rubbing
Dude,
its head. And I was
so
like,
strange.
This
man.
is so weird. Also, which made no sense to me, the basketball scene. Do you remember the basketball scene
I
in
saw
Resurrection?
memes of it, but I can't quite remember.
She's literally just like, for some reason there's a half-court basketball court on the ship. Wreck time. You know, you need to
I mean,
get
zero gravity.
Yeah. Well,
It'd be best.
there was gravity. There had to be, because she was just jumping and stuff.
Right,
But,
yeah.
it was just weird. She's like dribbling and like dunking and stuff and like doing layups, and you're like, why?
It's almost as like, remember in Top Gun when they put in the volleyball scene?
Yeah, but the
Or
volleyball scene
football
made
scene,
sense.
the football scene.
Oh, and the new one. I still haven't
No,
watched
both
the
of them,
new
dude.
one.
No, in
Well, the
in the old
volleyball
one,
scene's the old one. Volleyball.
was it volleyball or
Yeah,
football?
it was beach volleyball.
Okay, yeah. So, but I mean, yeah, it's just super random. I just felt like,
It was like that thing in the 80s where they're like, we need like a weird montage scene. And
Where
it's
everybody
like beach
takes off their
volleyball.
shirt and everybody's
we
good
got all these
looking, we
hot
gotta do
dudes,
this,
oil them up and get them out there in the sand.
Yep.
But it just was super weird. But yeah, we watched all of them.
That's a lot.
It was a lot of Alien.
Yeah.
I fell asleep in 3 and 4 a few times.
I don't blame you.
So we had to rewatch parts. But they were really good. I told you, I still love sometimes the CGI just looks like shit, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in 3 and 4, it was like the beginning of CGI. Like the xenomorphs looked like all just like they were like way brighter than like the rest of like the scene's all dark, but the xenomorphs like bright black.
And see, that's why this one was so cool, because they kind of went back to that style instead.
Yeah.
Because in Covenant, they did CGI where it was like, computer generated, and it did look really cool, but that wasn't really how it started. They used like a robotic kind of creature like Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And so in this one, they did that too. And you can almost see that jittery type of movement. And even though it looks kind of cheesy, that's why these movies are great. They're cult classics. They're not meant to be up there on the Oscars winning best visual effects or anything like that. They're cult classics the same way Pinhead and some of these other movies, like it's a cult following of them.
Yeah.
So that's what you'll see, because like in this one, like you'll see when they do that kind of turn and it's just head is kind of jittery. You're like, that's a robot. But I love it.
No, and it's
They're
like,
cool movies.
and I brought it up to you, like The Thing, I think is probably one of like the best scary movies in terms of like what they did with just like having there's no CGI. Like,
That's
it
John
was, like,
Carpenter before Halloween
wild.
too.
Yeah, it was like you watch some of that stuff and like even now like there's some stuff that makes you laugh. Like there was a few things that like made us laugh. Like
dude.
we were like, this is hilarious.
Yeah.
Like,
You'll see it in the new one, man. It's like they put that stuff in there for a reason. It's great. Because...
Yeah, we want to get the other ones done though, because I sent her a thing. There was like a meme that came out that had like all of the
timeline.
The timeline, yeah. And I was like, I guess we should have waited to watch Romulus, but I was like, it doesn't really matter. But I was like, I've only seen Covenant, I think part of the way through, and then is it Prometheus?
Yeah, Prometheus. I
I've
think
seen
Covenant's
that one.
probably my favorite.
Okay.
I like Covenant a lot.
I'll have to check it out. But I did get a bunch of other things watched. I'm all caught up on Hard Knocks. The
Nice.
new one
Yeah.
with the Bears.
Yep.
Caleb Williams is very likable, which I was surprised about. I didn't think I would have that take after just seeing him leading up to the draft and everything else. He's a very likable guy, honestly, and he seems like a pretty good teammate.
It's pretty cool. He seems like he's really close to his mom. I think that's cool. Yeah. And then after his first 2 games, I mean, wow, dude, he's taking the league by storm.
I mean, they're already comparing him to Patty out there, dude. And some of them they were. I was like, that's
they were
a
very
wild
Patty
throw.
like Mahomes.
One of those ones he ran to the right and threw across his body, and it was like 40 yards on a rope to the guy. And so it's like, oh Jesus!
Yeah, no, man. Before the preseason games, I really wasn't drafting Rome Odunze in any of my mocks, but
might have to now.
I'm looking into it
because they were looking pretty damn good. But I do recommend watching it. I like the Hard Knock stuff. It's always good.
Dude, it's great. Dude, Liev Schreiber.
Yeah,
he's the voice of God.
Which it blew me away when I found that out. I was like, now I hear it, but like at first you're like,
I didn't know till last year when they brought him to camp.
Yeah. I think that was when I learned, and I was like, holy shit, it's Liev Schreiber.
They flew him in, and him and Aaron Rodgers
he's
are
the
chill.
guy. Yeah,
that's cool.
But also started watching Charlie Hustle and the Matter of Pete Rose on HBO Max.
Dude, they were talking about that on Two Bears yesterday. Wow.
I haven't listened to it.
Sounds really fascinating, man.
It's pretty wild because you go in like, man, they just need to let him be in. And then you go out of it and you're like, he's kind of a dick.
I heard he slept with a 15-year-old girl.
He says she was 18. Or no, she was 16, but that was the age of consent back then. And he was only like 20-something. Still weird.
Yeah, but very weird.
That was the rules. What are you going to do?
Yep.
But it's just the way, like, he lied for so long. And then when he finally was like, yeah, I did it. And then they're like, well, why'd you lie? He's like, oh. And it's like the longer it goes on, the more you're like, I don't feel sorry for him anymore. Yeah. He's kind of a prick.
Yeah, they were talking about that at Two Bears. It was like, they said the same thing. Like the first part of it, you're like, oh, what?
Yeah, going up, you're like, okay, yeah. And he was an incredible baseball player.
I mean, dude, the leader.
Best hitter.
No one will ever catch his record for hits.
He's like Gretzky in terms of hits. Yep. Dude was insane.
Yeah.
His own teammates, most of them like him. Frank Robinson Sr. likes him. Johnny Bench refused to take part in it. And they're like, they cut to a scene, or it's a clip I've seen before, but there's like some like podcast guy or some guy who's like, well, what do you think about Pete Rose? He's like, what do you want me to say about Pete Rose? He's like, what are the rules? He's like, he gambled on baseball.
Oh, wow.
He's banned for life. What do you want me to say?
That's
and
awesome.
It's just like, man, I get it.
What's it on, Max?
Yeah, Max.
Okay, cool.
I would definitely recommend it just because, like, and now that you've heard about it, you're going to obviously have a little bit of like an inkling and a way to think going into it. But that was my whole thing. I was just like, he deserves to go in. And then afterwards, I was like, I don't know if he does, man. Yeah. I think you gotta.
It's tough,
especially now with gambling the way it is now. You have Michael Porter Jr.'s brother. You have all these other guys getting banned for life. You can't set the precedence of like, yeah, but if you're really good, we'll wait 40 years and
it's
we'll
never
going
to
to
happen, dude. I mean, maybe if it happens, it'll be 50 years down the line when all of these old baseball heads have died. Because I mean, dude,
that's his whole point. That's his argument being made is that all those guys who were the voters and the people who had the most problem with it are dying.
Yeah.
He even says that at one point. He's like, most of these people are 20, 30 years old, have no reason. They don't even know.
Yeah. And maybe it's their dad. They're like, well, my dad, this was
even
his
said that. He's
dying
like, the only
wish.
reason they've heard is from their dad. And he's like, how bad would you feel, though, if I died this year and next year they let me in? And you're like,
oh, wow.
Maybe that's your karma, dude. Maybe they're going to wait till you
that
die
would
and
be
then fucking
nuts,
put you in.
The next year.
Yeah, the
like,
next
okay,
year.
we'll put him on.
The day after.
Dude. Oh my God, that's like the ultimate Pete Rose
They
revenge.
close the casket and they're like, Hall of Fame.
Right. There you go.
But yeah, I mean, it was wild.
That's
I just saw it and I was like, I'm gonna watch this because I was like, I know Pete Rose, everything about him, you've heard the stories, but yeah, the more you find out, the more you're like, yeah, damn it.
I'm gonna check it out definitely.
And it's like he wants it to be like his plea to get like sympathy, and it does not work.
No, yeah, he just seems like too much of an asshole.
He calls like a reporter who's like 20 baby at one point, and then she like comes back and confronts him about it.
Oh wow!
And his manager's there, and then his manager's doing the apology because Pete's like, I don't think I did anything wrong. Wow. And then the manager's like, well, Pete just wants to say that he's sorry, and it wasn't meant to be taken the way Pete said it, and it's just like,
oh my
Pete
God.
doesn't seem to give a shit.
Yeah,
Pete seems fine with it.
He
He's
hasn't
fucking
said sorry.
80 years old. Leave him alone. For one, he's not going to change, but at the same time, you don't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, I guess. But
Nice.
It's very interesting nonetheless. So
That's
check
cool.
it out. Other than that, we did go to the game. That was pretty good. We stayed till about halftime. Well, it was like the start of the third, I think, when we left. The third quarter, because like everybody was out, and just like
Yeah.
I saw Bo. That's all I needed to see. Saw
Cool.
Stidham. He looked like Stidham.
You got a rushing touchdown.
He did. He
Yep.
did. He used them legs. But yeah, Bo Nix looked good, man. And of all of his drives, only one hasn't ended in points, and that was when the tight end fumbled the ball. So
I see.
a lot of touchdowns and field goals. So hopefully we win a few games, But other than that, stadium looks good. Seats still the same. We're going to be going there. Hopefully it's not snowing on January 9th, I
Yeah,
believe, is the
hopefully
game.
it's not super
It's
cold.
the last game of the year.
Yeah.
Hopefully some of the Chiefs are still playing. We shall see.
You never know. I think that could be a game to decide some stuff for the AFC West.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, who's
Yeah.
going to get third or fourth?
It's just amazing to me how many Broncos fans they have so much PTSD from the past 9 years, or they're like,
It's only almost a decade, Chad.
yeah, but I mean it's enough. It's just like have some faith. I mean, dude, the Chiefs went through the same length of time, and it's like, I mean, we saw Patrick Mahomes come through, and we weren't like, I mean, we had Alex Smith.
Yeah, but
too,
you guys
and
were
we
like a
still,
perennial playoff team, going 10-6 the whole time. You had Alex Smith.
No.
I feel like there was
Look
like
it
2
up.
years
No.
when you guys were
The
like
first year he was 7-7. The next year I think we went 9-7, and then I think we went like 12-6 or something, or not
Or
12-6, but
12-4.
10-6.
Or yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, even with Alex Smith that year, we
Yeah.
went to go watch their playoff game at Stoney's. Man, I was like, we're going to the Super Bowl. It's like I just don't get it. I'm like, Broncos fans, have faith, dude. If
I
you're
have faith.
wrong, you're wrong.
I have
I'm not
faith.
talking about you.
Oh,
I know
yeah,
you do.
yeah,
There's
no.
just a lot of them I hear that are just like, I don't know about this Bo Nix guy. And I'm like, do you have eyes?
It's my whole thing. It's just like I'm just glad that they're all about it. Like that's all I care about.
Dude, it's way better than Paxton Lynch.
No, dude. Well, I mean, the guy cried on the sidelines. Let's not forget that. He sprained his ankle and just cried.
Yeah.
What didn't look good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not gonna like. I was joking to Merrill too. I was like, we're going to the Super Bowl. But obviously,
Yeah.
I'm 6-7 or 6-7 wins, 8 wins. That'd be awesome.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that type of mentality, man.
No.
This is tribal
Realist.
mentality, the same way back in the day when we would have like it was House of Dragons, different, House of Baratheon versus Targaryen, where
Yeah.
like black versus red, let's go. My house versus yours. It's no different.
It's
Just
the same.
blind
Yeah.
faith,
Yeah.
blind faith.
That's
man.
all we've got anymore.
We're tribal
Blind
human
faith.
beings.
Well, that about does it for my weekend. Watched a bunch of shit. Went to the game.
Yeah. I did watch the Matt Rife special with crowd work, dude. That was funny.
Was it?
I thought it was really funny.
I
Yeah.
was worried about it. I still haven't watched his other special.
I think this one's way better. His crowd, because that's what he's known for, is his crowd work.
Yeah, I mean that's like
And-
what got him big on TikTok. and
Yeah,
those
like all of
things.
his TikTok things. And, he's just kind of such a trendy guy. I was like, I don't know. I bet this won't be good. But, no, he was pretty good at it.
Nice.
Yep.
Well,
Let's get into some news,
we
man.
gotta fly into some news right now. It's time for headlines. Let's get it.
Headlines! Get your headlines here!
Get them while they're hot. We're going to roll right into the NFL because we are going to cruise. Here we go.
Yeah, we're going to be going a little quick.
Personal foul, 69, offense. He was giving them the business.
Everybody loves 69.
Everybody loves number 69, and they love giving them the business. Well, there has been a few updates on injuries in terms of the NFL. Josh Herbert back at practice and looking good.
Justin Herbert?
Justin,
I know
Jesus.
those J names, dude.
Damn
There's a lot
it.
of them.
I said it, and I was like, I sounded way too confident for how I felt when I said it.
Well, it can't come soon enough because if anybody's heard, Easton Stick and all the other backup QBs for the Chargers have looked bad.
Easton
atrocious.
Stick's got a good name. Easton Stick.
Yeah, it sounds like he's more of like a track and field name, not really that football name.
If you hear Harbaugh talk about it, he said he heard music, like angelic music, when he returned to the field, and he was just being his normal weird Jim Harbaugh self.
Man,
so
he is an odd guy.
he's definitely one of the weirder dudes.
Yeah.
Speaking of weird dudes, a guy who likes to talk about biting kneecaps, Mr. Dan Campbell, says Jahmyr Gibbs ready to go week 1.
I know, it's unbelievable with the hamstring injury.
Those
Must not
hammies.
have been that serious.
Yeah.
Definitely didn't play in the last preseason game against the Chiefs. But, yeah, it's good to see because I told you, man, this is my hunch. I think Jahmyr Gibbs gets over 1,500 yards scrimmage. If this hamstring isn't anything serious.
I mean, just total yards. He might be over 2,000 coming out of the backyard the way he catches the ball,
I'm
too.
saying,
So.
dude, he is just so quick. Goddamn, Samir had him in our league last year and was just racking up points with him. It's frustrating.
It is frustrating.
We covered a little. We've talked about the Broncos preseason game. Chris, you want to give me some takeaways of the Chiefs game?
Well, yeah, I guess. Since you just
Set
threw
you
up a
up there.
softball for me. Chad, what'd you think about that behind-the-back pass by Patrick Mahomes there?
Pretty nuts, man.
Let me throw it to you.
Yeah, pretty crazy that they actually broke it out in a game. I will say, dude, it did suck because, like, my TV, it, like, buffered right at that time. I didn't even get to see it on the big
He
screen.
threw it a little low, too. Kelsey had to catch it by his knees. All I can say is I cannot wait for the day that someone grabs that and runs it back for a pick 6.
I think
and
you're
then
going to
they
be waiting
knock
a
that
long
shit off.
time.
It's not gonna. It'll be soon. It'll be soon. It'll happen.
Yeah.
One of these days, those plays are gonna backfire, and it's not gonna be cool. They're just gonna be like, "Why would they do that?"
Yeah. Well, I guess that'll be fine because that'll be one play out of like 99 that really worked. So it's like 1 out of 100. No, I can live with
Yeah,
that.
you know.
But what's even better is the 3 different reactions. First, we had Mahomes that was saying that he did it because he was pissed at Travis for running the wrong route. You know, whatever's true, cool. It definitely looked like it was pretty planned by the play design. Then Travis's reaction was even better because he said, you got Patrick Mahomes' voice thing, so I couldn't quite hear the route in the huddle. So he was like, so I just had to run. I'm here. But my favorite reaction was Andy Reid's when he was asked about it after the game, and Andy Reid was like, I don't understand what the big deal is. Basketball players do it all the time. So
it's true. I mean,
Andy Reid's just so cutthroat when it comes to stuff like that, dude. He just acts like so nonchalant, just so serious in those. But way not as much of like a dick than Belichick in the preseason games. But aside from the incredible behind the back pass, which was fun, dude, Xavier Worthy is getting separation, man.
Yeah,
I'm feeling pretty happy about that.
second team too, and I heard he was still making plays. So.
Yeah, him and Carson Steele. Carson Steele looked good again.
We talked about him earlier.
Yep. So yeah, we looked good.
Yeah.
Happy about it. But as long as we don't have to get to our 4th-string quarterback, Ian Book, God, that guy's bad.
There's a reason he's a 4th-string,
And not gonna
he'll
make the
probably
team.
be out there next week, the whole game, and be gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Be gone.
That'll be what happens.
Yes. Well, let's move on. Unless you have something else in the NFL.
Nope.
Nothing. All right.
Hit me with that Adam Sandler one, because that's college technically.
Oh, we're gonna go into college right now. I see what you're doing.
Yep, we're going
All
to
right.
set up the first weekend of college football.
390. Check. Check. Red 18. Red 18. Needle dick. Needle dick. Needle dick.
That's some college football. That's how we get ready for the season. It's
Yep.
finally here.
This weekend.
Yep, there is only one game, but FSU, Florida State, kicks it off in Dublin.
Dublin.
Yep, they're playing Georgia Tech in Dublin.
Wow.
Yep. I think Dan would be able to tell me. I can't remember what they're ranked, but I want to say like
They're 10.
10th. Wow,
Yeah.
damn, they're pretty high.
They're number 10. Georgia Tech
That's pretty
unranked. That game is at
10 a.m. I believe.
Yep, 10 a.m. and that is on Saturday, right?
Yep.
Yep, Saturday, and that is at Viva Stadium in Dublin. FSU favored -10. The over/under is 55.5 in that game. So, going to be a high-scoring game, as most college football games are.
Yeah, Ireland getting a college football game. There you go. I mean, again, they've been doing this couple years now. But one thing I wanted to bring up is I got a pretty cool bet going with my landlord.
Ooh.
I am all in on the Jayhawks football this year. Me and Beal, dude, it's serious.
Serious.
Yeah. So I think they're ranked 16th right now. I'm really bad at remembering all
Let me
this.
tell you
but-
what their rankings are.
Yeah. But I know it's way higher than CU. It's like 41, I think.
They're 22.
Yeah, 22. Okay, I gave it a little 6-spot jump. All right. So My landlord is a die-hard CU football fan. I mean, raised in the whole culture. I believe his dad was an offensive line coach back in the day. Now they are on the booster club. I mean, they are in it. And so I thought I'd get a little risky, try to save a little bit of money on rent. So I threw out a bet with him. Yeah, or spend extra. And so CU's back in the Big 12. Time to get beat up again. And they will be playing in Arrowhead because Jayhawk Stadium is getting totally revamped. Won't be ready until next season.
Yep.
And so my landlord said he will be watching that game. And I said, all right, well, let's do a bet. How about $100 off rent? And he goes, all right, cool. I'm down with that. But if CU wins, you got to pay $100 more on rent and sing the CU fight song on your podcast.
Oh my God, are you ready?
It got a little serious. I was like, shit. I don't know, man. I don't think anyone wants to hear my singing voice.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. I hope I'm going to be
you're
rooting
gonna be
for
praying,
CU.
dude, for that.
Just for the content.
I was going to say, just for the good content, man. I'll be like looking at the words for the song. I'm not going to memorize
I'll
it.
key up this music too.
Yeah, I know you would, man. You're going to bring in the damn, what's the Buffalo's name?
Yeah, I'll have Ralphie in here.
Ralphie, that's
I'll
what
bring
it
in
is.
Ralphie and we'll have a whole band.
We'll steam them down the road.
Yeah,
Man.
no big deal.
It'll be nuts, but yeah, it should be a good game. I'm excited for that. So yeah, we'll keep you updated on them when that game happens.
Yeah. I
It's in
think
November, maybe.
I can't remember when it is, but I know CU's first game is against North Dakota State.
Oh wow, Division III school, right?
I don't think they're Division 3.
Are they?
I don't think so.
No.
I need to look into that. I don't know my divisions that well in college football. I barely keep up on the top 25.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it for college football. You want to move on?
Yeah, let's get into a little bit of the NBA.
Let's do it.
Take it roll. Outlet. Rangers.
Not much going on in the NBA right now.
Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot indeed.
Come out.
Olympics are over.
Olympics are done. Now we wait.
Yep.
Till October, I believe. But one thing that does have to do with the Olympics a little bit.
Oh, no, sorry. I just thought of something. Go ahead with what you were going to, then I'll say.
Oh my God!
Sorry, man. Just popped in the head. Noggin.
Son of a bitch.
I didn't make you
So, France's one of their standout stars, Gershon Yabusele, or Yabusele.
Can you try to say that with a French accent?
Gershon. Gershon. No, that was Mexican.
No, that kind of. You had it. Gershon? No, I did like a Russian name.
Gershon Yabusele. I don't know.
Dude, it's so nuts. Man.
Yeah, it's tough. France is hard. It's hard to get into it. You need something. But he was the guy who some of you might remember posterized LeBron.
Unfortunately, I got it a little hidden from the headlines because they won.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But he did poster him.
Dunk all over LeBron. And the 76ers have now agreed to a 1-year, $2.1 million deal with the forward. So we'll see if he's going to be able to translate that back into the NBA. I know he did have a run with China for a while before he got in with France.
China.
Got
to say it every time.
China.
That's what China.
But yeah, so it's cool to see. I mean, I was wondering how many of these guys were gonna, some of these guys even from the Serbian team, I could see.
Did you see the news about Micic?
Yeah, that the Nuggets are looking to trade for him.
Is he already in the NBA? Is that why they'd have to trade?
I think so because I want to say he's on one of the Florida teams, but I can't remember for sure.
That would be huge, man.
Yeah,
dude, I would love that. Can we just make Denver the Denver Serbia,
the Denver Serbs?
Nuggets? Yeah,
the Serb Nuggets.
just whatever we got to do to cater
Serbs.
to Jokic,
Yeah.
let's do it, man.
Yeah, we might as well.
But that would be huge news. If that does happen, we will bring it to you guys.
Yes.
What popped in my head though, it wasn't NBA, but WNBA. Did you see Caitlin Clark just broke the rookie assist record on Sunday?
Yeah.
With 12 games left, man.
Yeah, she's going to set a record that will take a while to break it. And she's going.
Did you see Shannon Sharp just lighting the rest of the WNBA?
I didn't see all of it, but I did see that he was like, you got, because she's on her way to getting like suspended for technical fouls, I think, for bitching and getting into it with people.
Who, Caitlin Clark is? Oh, I haven't seen that.
'Cause
No,
she's
what
almost got
Shannon
5.
was talking. No,
But it's all about how they're treating her like
yeah,
shit. Yeah,
I mean, dude, there's a clear video in that game where this girl speeds up and does it. So I don't blame Caitlin Clark one bit. I mean, they're targeting her. It's like I did save. I think I did save it. I mean, it's nuts. The numbers that they have. Man, let's see. That's not it. Dang it. I should have had it prepared. But anyway,
it's okay.
They had. It's not just Caitlin Clark, but she has elevated that whole league, her and Angel Reese and all of it, to a level of just like astronomical proportions. And for the simple fact that like they're just like still bullying her and just being ridiculous, man. I mean, to kind of give her like a shoulder shrug like that. I mean, ride the wave.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on? I mean, the hate is just unreal.
And it's, and I saw something about Diana Taurasi when she was coming in talking about, like, yeah, you did you did a whole bunch against 18-year-olds, but now you're playing against women that have been in this league for a long time. And
yeah, that was
Diana
before the
Taurasi
season
hasn't
and
even
stuff.
been there. She got beat by her twice already.
Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, it's just like, I just don't understand the hate. Like, I just don't get it. It's like, just ride with it, I mean, Larry and Magic, they didn't really like it when Michael Jordan was coming up, but they had to accept it because he was that good. And now that it'd be one thing if there was all this hype and then she sucked, but she's leading the league in assists.
She's clearly really
as a
good.
rookie.
Yeah.
God, get off of it, man. Yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. She's going to shatter that record.
Yeah, and then set one that's going to it won't be her that sets the rookie one, but she's probably going to break a record for just regular assists in the next couple years, I'm sure. So,
yep.
What do you want to get into?
You want to cover Hideki Matsuyama?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's freaking do it right freaking now, man.
Son of a bitch, Ball, why didn't you just go home? That's your home! Are you too good for your home? Answer me!
Yes, answer me, much like Hideki Matsuyama answered himself after he almost collapsed and blew his lead in the final 2 holes. Well, heading into the final 2 holes of the first leg, or if you will, the first match of the PGA Tour playoffs or the FedEx Cup. He basically 3-putt a bogey on 12th, a tee shot in the water on a par 3 14th. He managed to escape with a bogey there. He 2 chips to reach the 15th green and a double bogey. When he saw a leaderboard on the 16th hole, it confirmed what Matsuyama feared. I felt today's victory slipping away at that point because 17 and 18 are difficult holes enough, let alone to birdie them, Matsuyama said through his interpreter. He did birdie them. He birdied them both for his 10th career PGA Tour victory and first FedEx Cup playoff title. So he is well on his way. I think he won a good chunk of change too, man. I think it was like $3.9 million or $3.6 million. If you win the FedEx Cup, it's like 8.
I think it's 8. No, not.
I think it's more than that. FedEx Cup result winning money.
Let's hear it.
Let me see here. Oh, 18 million. Oh wait. I think 18 million for winning it all.
Yeah, I was 10 million off. Wow.
Yeah. So it's a good chunk of change right there for playing some golf for 4 days.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So good on Hideki. And I'm trying to think. I just clicked out of it, but where the next one is. Hold on 1 second while I get there. Golf. Schedule.
All right.
We've got. They're in Colorado this weekend.
Oh, what?
I forgot about that. Yeah, the BMW Championship at Castle Pines Golf Club in Castle Rock, Colorado. Victor Hovland was the previous winner. The purse for this one, a cool $20 million.
Jeez. Wow, man. How is that more than winning the FedEx?
I don't know.
Oh, the purse for the whole event.
Yeah.
That's probably what that means. I see. Yeah. Dang.
So, yeah.
Where's that at in Colorado?
Castle Pines in Castle Rock.
Castle Pines, yeah.
So, I'll try.
Castle Rock's awesome.
I'll try and get us, some press passes.
Let's do it, man.
We'll be out there.
Fringe Fanatics right on the greens.
I have tried to get us press passes for the Mammoth and the Rapids. They didn't get back to me.
Yeah, they probably like, you guys don't ever talk about lacrosse or soccer, so why would we do that?
Because that's how you start talking about
Exactly.
it. You go. Dude. That's what I thought process
You fall in
was.
love with it.
And, the Rapids are doing really good right now.
They are. Yeah.
Yeah. But real quick, let's touch on F1 and then move into the UFC.
Let's do it.
This is kind of a preview as we return from the summer break
sir.
With the Heineken Dutch Grand Prix at the Circuit Park Zandvoort. Will McLaren continue to reign supreme, or will we see Red Bull storm back after the break? There is a lot of talk saying that Red Bull has gone back to the drawing board, so to speak, and have made some changes, and we may see a different type of car, not necessarily totally different, but I mean, we might see a little bit different performance out of the car heading into the summer, the end of the summer break to finish out the season. So I am definitely interested to see what happens. I do think McLaren's going to pull it out this year.
You think they're going to win the Constructors?
I think they might pull it off.
Why don't I give you a little update on the points?
Give me the update.
Because Red Bull's sitting at 408, and then McLaren's at 366 with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 races left. Wow.
The reason I'll tell you that is because Perez has been so bad, and both of the McLaren drivers keep finishing in the top 5.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's very possible.
I think they're going to catch up, but we'll see what happens because if
it's all on Max's shoulders.
If Max comes out and starts ripping and roaring, might not matter. So.
Yeah, because if those 25 points with each win, that stacks up.
Yeah, you start
and man,
cruising.
I told you how I finished last season's Drive to Survive before we started recording, and man, it is nuts how watching. I don't know what happened between last year and this year, but in a lot of those races, Perez is right up there in on the podium or in the top 5.
It is very strange how much he's fallen off.
Fallen way off.
And supposedly they're the same car, So we say.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's not looking good, but they're bringing him back for, at least through this year. So he'll finish out the season in terms of being a driver for Red Bull, but we'll see what happens going into next year.
And of course we got Ferrari and trying to catch McLaren because, like we said, McLaren's at 366 points. Ferrari's at 345. They're just right behind them.
Yeah. So Ferrari, and they're up in their game next year, and new drivers, aka Mr. Sir Lewis Hamilton.
That's
Sir
right.
Richard Hamilton. Jesus Christ, I'm losing it.
Man, I tell you what, that was the first time I finished that season though, and that really had me on the edge of my seat. That was awesome.
Yeah, the way they put that together, just like, damn.
That's great, man. Yeah, because you just see how heartbreaking it is when one of these guys wrecks, or they got to get a DNF or retire the car. All the work and all the money they put into it. There's 2,000 employees, estimated on each team.
Yeah, just
it's
throughout.
A huge organization. It's just a lot.
That was what was crazy about watching. That one that was on ESPN. Shit, I was watching. Braun. Yeah. When they were talking about all the people that were losing their jobs and shit, and you're like, wow, they just laid off like hundreds of people.
Hundreds of people, man. It's a company. It's a huge company. So. The thing is, people really like Red Bull. They drink it, they snort it,
they live it, they love it, they boof it.
So
they'll inject it intravenously.
Red Bull's gonna keep getting that money in.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Well, let's touch on the MLB real quick, and then end with the UFC. Get the DDOE and get the hell out of here.
All right, that sounds good. All we really need to touch on is that Bobby Witt's going to win the AL MVP. All right, cool. Let's move on to the UFC. No, I'm just playing.
Vaughn, a juvenile delinquent in the offseason in his major league
You would
debut.
say that, but
dude, I got to, man.
It's looking pretty good right now.
It's going to be a tough race. The home runs always do it for the MVP.
Yeah,
and the Yankees they did move up into first place.
Yeah, well, in terms of leaders for the season so far, batting leaders, Bobby Witt Jr., he's above Aaron Judge. He's got a batting average of 349. Aaron Judge, 331. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., 317. In terms of home runs, you've got Aaron Judge, 44. Shohei Ohtani, 39. Marcell Ozuna for the Atlanta Braves, 36. Complete leaders right now, Aaron Judge, I'm sorry. Runs batted in. 111 for Aaron Judge. Bobby Witt Jr.'s in 5th with 91. He could catch him. You never know.
Yeah, possibly. But then you look at the hits.
There you go. That's the big one right there.
Yeah.
Bobby Witt Jr., 174. He's leading everybody by a lot. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., 152 in 2nd. And Luis Arias in 151, closely behind Vladimir Guerrero.
Pronunciation, man.
Thanks, I tried. Stolen bases, Ellie De La Cruz is just dominating everybody, has them almost doubled up, and probably will have them doubled up by the end of the year. 59 stolen bases. Shohei Ohtani got the speed this year. He's got 37, and tied with him, Bryce Turang from Milwaukee also has 37. And then let's go to the pitching real quick and just talk about a couple of those.
All right. Chris Sale with the strikeouts for Atlanta with 187 strikeouts. Then Dylan Cease, who had the no-hitter about a month back, 186, just under him. And then Tariq Skubal. Skubal. Oh, is that an L? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. There's a mark on my laptop.
It's got a smudge. Damn smudge, dude.
Yeah, that's funny. At 185. Then we'll go to saves for relief pitchers. Ryan Helsley, 38 saves, and Emmanuel Clace for the Cleveland Indians at 37. Then we'll go up to ERA. Tariq Skubal, again, for the Detroit Tigers at 2.49, and then Chris Sale, 2.62 for the Braves, and then Zach Wheeler, who is an ace for the Phillies, at 2.72. And then for the pitching leaders, all wins, Seth Lugo for the Royals just got a win last night. I followed that game. Got 14 wins. We got a 3-way tie where Skubal again for the Tigers has 14, and then Chris Sale for the Braves has 14. So those are your leaders for Cy Young and MVPs probably.
Yeah, right now. Let's run down the standings real quick, and we'll do more of a deep dive next week since we don't have a big UFC. New York Yankees, as Chad mentioned, in the East American League are in first, 73 and 52. Baltimore Orioles, 73 and 53. The Red Sox,
race.
65 and 59. Moving to the Central, you've got the Cleveland Guardians, 72 and 52. They are winning.
Spend some time on this division right here, man.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
The Cleveland Guardians are a team full of a bunch of dudes, and they are dominating right now. And then you've got the Minnesota Twins there, tied with Chad's Kansas City Royals, 70 and 55, and then the Detroit Tigers, 61 and 64. That is a pretty close race.
That's
right there.
That's a gauntlet of a division. Those top three right there, man. I mean, look at this. If the Royals were in the West, they would be in first place. In the National League, they would be in the Central Division, they would be first, and that's pretty much about it. But I mean, they'd
be second pretty much anywhere else too,
Yeah.
so they'd be right up there. Moving to the West, as you just mentioned, the Houston Astros at 68 and 56. The Seattle Mariners, who have had one hell of a fall off since the All-Star break, are now in second after leading the West. They are 64 and 62. The Tejas Rangers are in third at 58 and 68. Chad, take us to the National League.
Let's get with it. All right, Philadelphia Phillies, who's been one of the best teams in baseball all year long, are 7 games up on the Braves at 73 and 51. And then you go down to the Central Division, the Milwaukee Brewers, team that just steals bases constantly. Brought that up last week. 72 and 52. They are 11 games up on the Cards. Damn, nobody's really catching them right now. Cincinnati's really playing good ball right now. They they're 5-5 in the last 10 games, but they're trying to climb up there. Then you go down to the West Division. The Dodgers, 74 and 52, 3 games up on the Padres. Wow, the Padres are starting to really climb back. But another team that's really hot, one of the hottest teams in baseball since the All-Star break, the Diamondbacks, 7-3 in their last 10 games. They're 70 and 56. 4 games back from first place, right behind the Padres.
Yeah, they are definitely leaning on the winning ways of last year, getting all the way to oh my God. Getting all the way to the World Series. I don't know why I just blanked on that. They got all the way to the World Series last year, and they are continuing to ride that into the postseason this year, and they are cruising on up against teams that obviously have way more of a payroll than they do in the Dodgers and the Padres. To be sitting there 1 game back from the Padres and 4 from the Dodgers is wild, to be a mid-level team like the Diamondbacks, so to speak. So
it's crazy.
Yeah. But there are no Rockies at 46 and 79.
Their stats for their last 25 or last 30 games, because I mean, dude, they've really been winning a lot. The Diamondbacks really are on a surge. So.
Yeah, they're one of the hottest teams in baseball right now.
That's pretty
So
cool.
good on them.
All right.
It is time to get it on.
Let's get it on!
Goddamn right. And we had a
That's
good
right.
UFC from Down Under last week.
Down under.
Oh, man. Ozzy delivered. This is what I get when I get on here and I'm like, oh, it's just going to be an all right card. I don't know shit. Man, tons of finishes, tons of knockouts. Just stellar card, top to bottom. I think I started watching around like 6 o'clock or so. I don't have time to cover every fight, obviously, so we will just go into the main event, and we'll talk about some drama, like
we'll talk a
controversial
little bit
news.
of drama.
We'll just start with that. Judge Howie Booth removed from judging the rest of the UFC 305 after his 30-27 scoring of Tai Tuivasa versus Rosenstrike. I wish this is so. It wasn't Dana on the post-fight conference, but it was basically like his stand-in, and he was asked about it, and he was like, "I don't know. I think it's Australia has different. Their fighting commission has different rules to where they can do this." But goddamn, I wish they would adopt these in Nevada and everywhere else.
As much as Dana bitches about it, I'm surprised this is the first time it's happened.
Well, he has no control.
Well,
over
I know, but I do feel like with it being your thing, I feel like you should be able to have some say, especially off of just performance-based stuff when it comes to judges. But I do get it's all based off of the
it sucks.
the gaming commission and all that shit. But
Yeah.
it's just like there's been multiple times where Dana's like, I don't know what these judges are seeing, and it's just like, well, then why do they get to come back? Like that guy
he has
should
no
be.
say in it. He has
It's
no
weird.
control over it.
I know, but it's just
like the fighting commissions are the ones that like there's certain things that you can do in New York that you can't in other ones. Like that dude,
the blind guy.
the blind guy, he can't fight in America.
Yeah.
You know, there's all these different fighting commissions and fighting rules. Unfortunately, his hands are tied.
Yeah, but it was crazy. It's
awesome.
good to see though.
Yeah, I mean,
If you
there's
suck, you
got to
should-
be regulation.
If you're the only one that sees it like that, where the guy you say won and everybody else is like, he got his ass kicked. It's like
that.
clearly
Come
you
on.
suck.
I mean, even when they were giving the decision for Rosenstrike and Ty at the end, Ty knew. I mean, when they were even like announcing the scorecards, he's clapping his hands for Rosenstrike because he knew, and so I think he acted shocked when
He's
the
like,
judge
oh,
was
shit,
like,
I won.
Wow, like, what is this guy? Dang, he must have been a cousin of mine or something. Like, what the hell? But let's get to the main event, man. Wow, Dricus Duplessis defeats Israel Adesanya, 4th round, rear naked choke. It was awesome, man. I mean, dude, the guy fights. Robert Whitaker, I saw, had a great quote on it because everybody talks about Dricus's like unorthodox fighting style that nobody can figure out because he's just flailing his arms the whole time, or he'll miss by a foot one time and then he'll connect with a huge right hand the next. And Robert Whitaker said he fights like a guy that you stole something from him and he's just running at you. Yeah. And he says, that's scary. You know?
Well, and is he just look? I mean, it looks like he might be done, man. I don't know. He didn't look like he was in it in the fight, and I don't know, man.
Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Oh wow, man. No, that's and a lot of analysts have said that's like the best Izzy has looked. I mean, you look at the Sean fight.
Yeah.
I mean, he got defeated.
Sean just walked him down,
and that's what I will respect Izzy a lot for this, that he takes losses really well. And he said that in the press conference. He was like, you know, that's the best I've fought in a long time. I just lost to the better guy. Yeah. And the power of Dricus, because Izzy was really starting to land a lot of shots, especially to the body. I mean, we talked about it, dude. Those body shots were just loud, and you were just waiting for Dricus. I mean, he was fighting with his mouth open. If Izzy was winning the 4th round until those shots started to land in the late 4th. And if he had kept doing it in the 5th, there's a good chance, because the scorecards were 2-1 at that point. Yeah. There's a good chance he could have won the fight. And, I mean, he fought a really good fight. He had really good leg kicks. But the power of Dricus is undeniable, man.
Well, yeah, it rocked him, and that's how he was able to get his back and eventually choke him out. But, I mean, just after losing to Strickland, after losing to Duplessis, like, he's going to have to work his way back up the ranks a little bit. And I don't know if he's going to... I don't know.
Did you see what he said afterwards, too? Yeah. He was like, I'm not fucking leaving. He said, I was really shocked, too, because, I mean, he's still young. I think he's like 30 or 31 or something like that. He says, like, no, I love this game. I'm still in it. And so he still plans on coming back. I think perfect situation. Here in a couple months, Robert Whitaker fights Hamzat Chiamov. And Dana already said that whoever won this fight will fight Sean Strickland. That's fitting. That totally works because it was really a toss-up between Sean Strickland and Dricus. So Dricus will now fight Sean Strickland. And then whoever wins Whitaker versus Hamzat, I think, should fight Izzy. That's a perfect matchup.
And then, give him a chance.
We'll go from there to climb back
That
up.
would make sense. But, I don't know. I'm wondering how, I know he said that, but there is part of me that feels like maybe he's not, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, you never know. You never know.
Yeah, it can happen fast when that, drive starts to slow down a little bit. But
yeah, I will. I thought it was pretty cool for him to still be so fired up and have just like the respect he gave Dricus and everything like that. I mean, he was crying in the press conference beforehand and everything.
It got weird.
Yeah,
he's a little weird.
He's a little soft, and that's what I just think Dricus is so cool because in the press conference he was asked about it because they talked afterwards because there was a lot of beef and a lot of heat between them before the fight. Obviously, it happens all the time, but they walked up and made everything cool. And when he was asked about it, he goes, I just kind of told him, like it's no hard feelings, he said, just harden up a little bit.
Yeah,
it's like that's fucking awesome, dude. He's a pussy, man. Dude, it's a fight game, man. Dude. Come on.
All right, well, let's talk about the fight of the night real quick before we move on to the DDOE. But Mateus Gamrot, right? Mateus
Gamrot, I think.
Gamrot versus Dan Hooker. All-out war, total battle.
Apparently, you get tatted up and you bleach your hair and you turn into a total
beast,
badass,
man.
dude. Yeah. That's just what happens, man. Dan Hooker had 0 tattoos for I think it was
January. I think January until now. He
just got totally tatted up.
Yeah, I think his legs were done, but everything above his legs, I think, were all new. So he went all out, getting tatted.
Man, but dude, there was times where I thought Gamrot was going to submit him, but Dan Hooker kind of got away from it, and it was just a brawler of fight. And then we've got to talk about the viral clip of him getting kind of like his cut, like what do we call it, like kind of healed up.
Oh yeah, when they put the fucking.
In between rounds of the gel, the petroleum
Vaseline,
jelly.
Vaseline, and they put the fucking cold thing on it.
So in between rounds, they're nursing him up and everything like that, and he's just full adrenaline, just yells, "I love this shit!" Like, dude, you were born to be a fighter, man. And what a comeback too, because I think he's lost his last 2 or 3 fights. So good for him, man.
Yeah, it was a good fight. It was definitely fun to watch for sure. Yeah. But
that was awesome. So. Do the Sphere, 3 weeks. It's coming up.
It's going to be weird. I feel like it's going to be too much on TV.
I don't know what to expect, dude. I don't know.
Are they going to be filming it from where the people are sitting, and you're just going to have the giant, massive shit?
I don't know.
Or what?
From what Dana said, the NHL draft was there, and he was asked about it.
It was kind of cool.
But he goes, what the NHL draft did by putting all the graphics up there and stuff like that, that's going to look like kids playing with crowns compared to what we're going to do.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. I'll see it when
I'm
I
sure
believe
it's going to be insane.
I would imagine.
I've heard just for what it costs to basically design and I guess engineer all the shit on there, especially for the crazy shows and stuff. That alone is insane amounts of money.
They are hindering money. They are draining money. They're not making money at the Sphere.
It's just they're hemorrhaging money left and right.
That's
they're
what
we can't even
hemorrhaging, not hindering. What
that's close. They're hindering their
There's
profits.
There's an H word in there. Yeah, that's true.
So there you go. You're technically still right.
But I'm gonna buy that fight too.
Oh, are you?
Yeah,
You're tired of
out of time.
Tired of dealing with nefarious ways.
That kind of got
busted.
Shut down. But yeah, she's
gonna dude.
be out of town, so I'm like, I'm not gonna take any chances. I'm gonna get that fight on.
Well, maybe we'll pitch on it and make it easier to deal with, so it's not $70.
Yeah, we'll see what's up.
But
move on to the DDOE.
It's that time. Every week, at the end of the show, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. John Daly, is going to grip it, rip it, and hit it hard, man.
I hit it hard, man. So far, man. No laying up, no holding back. Ain't afraid of nothing, it's a natural fact. I hit it long, man. Till it's gone, man.
Gone. That's right. It's time to hit it hard, and each and every week we hit it hard with the daily dose of excellence. And this week, we're going to harken back to the Olympics one more time because we're going to talk about the teenage sprinter, Mr. Quincy Wilson.
Yep.
16 years old.
Still in high school.
Mm-hmm. Can't even drive, I don't think. But he can run.
His quote afterwards too, where he was like holding up his medal and he was kind of like making a post and he was like, "When I get back to school, I better get the principal's parking spot."
Yeah, I guess he can't drive.
That's badass. Yeah. That's cool. But following the Olympics, Wilson made an appearance at Fanatics Fest, an event in New York City that draws fans from across all sports to celebrate athletics. At the event, Wilson participated in a 40-yard dash against former Miami Dolphins linebacker Channing Crowder. Wilson easily won the race, but it was how he did it that it was really embarrassing for the former football star. The sprinter finished the race in 4.86 seconds without putting in much effort. It appeared Wilson was just jogging to the finish line and laughing along the way. Not only that, but he was also wearing a pair of jeans. To be fair, Crowder was also wearing a pair of jeans, but I don't think that really would have mattered.
Yeah.
But, yeah. We covered that. It's a funny story, but it's also because Quincy Williams, a 16-year-old, just won gold at the Olympics.
Yeah, and he did so in the U.S. 4x400 relay pool, where he dazzled at the Olympic trials, breaking a 42-year-old record for the under 18 at the time with a record or with a time of 44.66 seconds in the 400-meter preliminary. He then improved his mark to 44.59 in the semifinals. Although his final time was 44.94, his strong finish earned him a spot in the conversation for the relay team, and that was what basically got him into the Olympics. So he's been showing out for a little while now, and he went ahead and did the damn thing out there in France at 16 years old, which he's the youngest Olympian to get a medal. And I think he's one of the youngest in terms of track and field for the American team, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Gymnasts, they're like 12.
I know, they start him really young. But, yeah, it's pretty awesome. Yeah, he's, I think, got a bright future going forward with the Olympics. I mean, 16 years old, another, 4 years from now. He's going to be 20, still racing, and it's just nuts when you see him with the other relay racers that are just like the guys that are like 6 inches tall. I mean, just like men. They look like men, and then he's the 16-year-old out there, but still just as fast as them. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, and I also saw that he got to meet Jay-Z after all of this at the Fanatics Fest, a week-long event for the athletes and fans, so that's pretty cool for him, man. I'm sure he'll be meeting a lot of famous people as his very young track and field career is off to a great start. So,
yeah. Well, hats off to you, Quincy Wilson, and we appreciate you representing United States proud.
Indeed. Thank you, Quincy.
Before you hit that, Chris, just give you guys a little bit of a preview. If everybody...
We're both having trouble speaking today. It's okay.
If everything lines up next week, we will be having on Samuel Njoku from the Ravens.
Yes.
Really pumped about that. Give us a little bit of a preview of Week 1 game.
Yeah, I'd like to hear about what they got feeling-wise with Derrick Henry and that running attack going into this year.
They've got to be pretty excited about it.
So, yeah, that's going to be coming up next week. As always, we appreciate you guys joining us each and every week. If you can, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow us on all things social media. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and share anything that we share.
Comment. Tell us what you think. Tell us
we're dumb. I don't know
Disagree,
what the hell I'm talking
about. Yeah.
Until next time, we love you guys.
Farewell, y'all.
We'll see you later. Toodles!